What's up? Oh my goodness. What's up? What's going on, Bama fans? We are live. Oh my goodness, we're live right now. Talking your Crimson Tide, rolling through the SEC with Stephen Smith right here. You got the ReliaQuest Bowl on tomorrow, New Year's Eve between Alabama and Michigan from Tampa, Florida. And the reason why I kind of want to do this right now is because I kind of want to gauge you, the listeners, in a conversation. Just a brief moment here. What are you looking forward to the most in this game? Like, what do you think will be the high points for this matchup between Alabama and Michigan? Kalen DeBoer is trying to end this season with a win. He's trying to get a 10-win season to go 10-3. He's trying to set his culture for next spring and the 2025 campaign. He's trying to get recruits to understand, hey, I understand Nick Saban no longer the head coach at Alabama, but Bama football is still a strong brand, still a strong program. Coach DeBoer is trying to navigate so many different things at one time, but it all starts off with how does Alabama handle Michigan? Right? How does Alabama end this season? You look at the SEC teams in the college football playoff, right? Texas moving on after beating Clemson. Tennessee, unfortunately, gets put out by Ohio State. Georgia moving on in the college football playoff despite not having Carson Beck at quarterback. I know so many people felt like South Carolina had a conversation to get into the playoff. Alabama, even though some people feel like the committee did Alabama wrong, Alabama understands we did not take care of business. All we had to do was handle Oklahoma and Norman, and we would be in the playoff, but that's besides the point. The point now is, how do you finish? How do you finish in Tampa, Florida? How do you finish this season? How do you do this the right way in taking care of Michigan? And for me, this has this has the excitement of, remember the 2011 Capital One Bowl off the 2010 season in Florida between Alabama and Michigan State. And that was an Alabama team in 2010 that had a boatload of NFL talent. You feel me? This is a 2010 Alabama team that had Mark Ingram, that had Julio Jones, that had Trent Richardson, that had Marcel Darius, that had dogs everywhere, that had Drake Kirkpatrick. That 2010 team had dudes everywhere. And that 2010 team lost to South Carolina, lost to LSU, lost to Auburn in the Iron Bowl. That 2010 team could have packed it up, but that 2010 team said, we're going to finish this the right way. And what did they do? They went out there in the Capital One Bowl game and they destroyed Kirk Cousins of Michigan State. I think the final score was 49-7. And that parlayed into that group going back-to-back national championships with A.J. McCarron as the starting quarterback 2011 and 2012. How does this group handle this? You go back to the 2020 team when you had Mac Jones and Najee Harris, Jerry Jeudy, all those great receivers, right? 2019, Tua gets hurt, Tua gets injured, Mac Jones becomes the guy, and then you lose to Auburn in the Iron Bowl that year. You take on Michigan in the Citrus Bowl down there in Florida. You beat Michigan 35-16. And what does that do? It springboarded Alabama that 2020 year, despite the COVID pandemic and having an SEC-only schedule. Alabama runs that table and wins a national championship. So this preview right here for me, it comes down to Alabama's offense. Which offense, which version of Bama do we see offensively? Do we get the version of Alabama that came out their first half against Georgia, the whole game against Georgia, and was outstanding? Do we see the offense that played against Wisconsin, that had a complete football game? Do we see the offense that showed up against LSU and walked the dog on them Tigers at Tiger Stadium? Or do we see the Alabama offense that struggled against Tennessee? Or do we see the Alabama offense that struggled a bit against Vanderbilt? Or do we see the Alabama offense that struggled some against South Carolina? Or do we see the Alabama offense that was a no-show against Oklahoma? Which Bama offense do we see? This is a massive game for Alabama's offense. Jalen Milroe is going to look to play this whole game, depending on how dominant Bama comes out here. You look at Tyler Booker. You look at Jalen Miller. So many guys on this offense, nobody opted out. Everybody wants to play in this game. How does this offense come out? How dominant is the scheme? How dominant is the script from Nick Sheridan as the offensive coordinator? How does Alabama look offensively coming out in this game? That's number one. For number two preview is you look at defensively. How much does Kane Wommack keep his feet on the gas? And this defense comes after Michigan. Because you got to feel like there is still some bad blood there. When you talk about the college football playoff semifinal game just a season ago in the Rose Bowl, and Alabama had that game. You remove bad snaps, you remove some miscues on defense, you remove a few negative plays, the game is different, right? There's still a bad taste in Alabama's mouth from that loss there to the Wolverines. So defensively, how much does Kane Wommack have this group keep its foot on Michigan's neck with pressure? Coming out for the quarterback, Alex Orji going to play in this game, or expected to play in this game, possibly. Coming after, Michigan's run game, though it's got some injuries there. How much does Kane Wommack really turn this thing up? How much does he really turn this thing loose, right? As far as the defensive front seven, getting pressure, defensive secondary, creating those takeaways. This is a big game. Big. And I mentioned this before. If you didn't make the playoff, if you're Alabama, the biggest consolation prize at this point would be getting some get back on the Wolverines, right? And playing to your style, and playing to your level, and playing to your focus of intensity. That's the big thing. Shouts out to my guys, Whitwell Sports, giving me that roll tide right there. Appreciate you, Whitwell. DJ German, giving me that roll tide. Hope we pull this W out. I'm hoping Alabama pulls it out as well, because you got to finish this correctly. You got to finish it strong. You got to finish out the right way. Cat pull! Get us a roll tide. Appreciate you, Cat, hopping in here and being a part of the live with me, rolling through the SEC, talking Bama. Shouts out to Bama Made OG with that What's Up, Steve, and appreciate you, Bama Made OG, dropping in. All of you guys dropping in the day before the ReliaQuest Bowl. Bama, Michigan from Florida, Tampa, Florida. BT Trust. Bama must come out fighting strong and play strong with a total, complete team mindset on ready. Absolutely. Bama's got to be on go. Offense has got to be on go. Defense has to be on go. Coaching staff has to be on go. Every phase has to be on go, right? You got to end this the right way. You got to finish this with getting your 10th win of the season. And you go into next year giving you, the Bama fans, something to be excited about. Hey, Bama didn't make the playoff. Hey, Bama didn't make the SEC championship game. Hey, Bama had some ups and downs, but at the very least, it finished the right way. It got that 10th win. Now DeBoer can really set that culture going into the spring and next season. Bama Made OG. I heard Jalen Milroe not coming back. He's headed for the NFL draft. If you listen to some recent press conferences he's had, he's talked about the excitement he's got for the other quarterbacks in the room, right? He's talked about the other quarterbacks in the room, what he's excited about, what he's pumped up about in terms of the other quarterbacks in the room, that tells me he is transitioning to the NFL. He is going pro after this bowl game. And when you have so many draft prognosticators that list him as a first-round guy, I think he's going to go out there and get that money, which I don't blame him for doing that. So I think Jalen Milroe is turning his attention to the draft after this bowl game. And that brings up, if Alabama jumps out to an early lead on the Wolverines, how much of a true, fair evaluation, when you look at reps, do we see from Ty Simpson and Austin Mack, right? Because you got to feel like once spring practice kicks back up, everybody's eyeballs are going to turn to Kalen Russell, the five-star signee. How much can he push? How much of a statement can he make? How much of an impact can he have in spring practice? A lot of people are going to be looking at Kalen Russell, and for obvious reasons, because Kalen DeBoer and this staff handpicked this young man from Duncanville High School in Texas. So this game right here is a true, real deal evaluation. When you look at Ty Simpson and Austin Mack, like how many reps do these two guys get? Let's see here. Cat pool next spring is going to be very interesting. Cat it is. Offensively and defensively. Next spring is going to be very, very intriguing. But it all starts off with how do you finish tomorrow? The focus is on Tuesday night. Not Tuesday night, Tuesday at 11 a.m., Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. How do you play in this ReliaQuest Bowl? How do you handle Michigan? How do you walk in there with that mentality of Bama is not going to be denied here in this football game? Guys, I'm so ready. I am so pumped here for this matchup, right? To finish this the correct way, to finish this the right way, to now turn the page into the offseason. Cat pool, I'm excited about the possibility of Jefferson being able to stay. Kane DeBoer is too, Cat. He's very excited. Justin Jefferson's very excited with the NCAA ruling about the JUCO kids playing junior college does not hurt you. This is big because if Justin Jefferson's able to run this back, which he's going to want to run this back, you're going to look at, he hasn't announced it yet, and Kalen DeBoer is going to allow him to announce it. But should Justin Jefferson make the announcement of wanting to come back, you're looking at potentially the best inside linebacker duo in college football with Deontay Lawson and Justin Jefferson. BT Trust writes in, Steven, what do you really think happened this season with this team? Was it a new coaching change, team not on one accord, or NIL? BT, it's a variety of things, brother. It's a variety of things. First and foremost, it was going to be tough replacing the greatest to ever do it. You are being asked to come in and follow behind Nick Saban. I don't care how much you say, I'm prepared to follow somebody, I'm prepared to come behind a legend. It's a whole different thing when your feet truly hit that ground and it hits you. Oh, snap. I'm behind the big dog. I'm following him. It's a different cat. It's a different animal once you truly get down here. It's the same thing when you look at Ray Perkins and Bill Curry. You have to follow directly behind Bear Bryant. That ain't no easy thing to do. And as often as you may say, I can do it, I can handle it, I can take it, homeboy, that's not an easy thing. To follow behind Bear, everybody expects you to be like Bear. You ain't Bear. That's hard. That's hard. Everybody expects Kane DeBoer to come in and pick right up behind Saban. That ain't easy to do. So that transition in itself was hard because those players, the voice they knew for so long was Saban. A lot of these kids, they came to play at Alabama because of Nick Saban. Saban retires. Here comes this brand new voice trying to coach you and develop you. That's a whole transition, not just for the coach, but for the players, for the board of trustees, for the athletic director, for everybody involved. So that was a hard transition. I don't care how you slice it. That's one thing that happened of a new coaching change. NIL, everybody's dealing with NIL. So you can't really say it's NIL because everybody in college football is dealing with that. So I think the biggest thing was you're listening to a whole different voice in the room as the head man. And there's so much of an expectation. And also, the SEC, y'all, is deeper and better. You bring in Oklahoma, you bring in Texas, the SEC's better. Teams got better this season. Vanderbilt got a quarterback from the transfer portal, and Diego Pavia. Vanderbilt got better. You got to give Clark Lea a lot of credit. South Carolina's a good football team. We saw this the latter half of the season. They go on a 6-game win streak. This conference is deeper and better. And so that's what happened. That's what happened. And then, Alabama not necessarily having the focus. And Kane DeBoer getting the understanding of, hey, each and every week, it's a gut check. You're not in the Pac-12, which is now no longer a conference where you may have 1 to 2 tough games a year and everything else is a cakewalk, and the SEC not so. Every game, you got to bring your lunch. You got to bring your A game. You got to bring that. You got to bring your blood, sweat, and tears, homie, every week. Because if you don't, the most insignificant team will show up and black your eye. And DeBoer never experienced that at Washington, where every single week it's a gut check. It's if you don't bring it, your eye gonna get blacked. DeBoer witnessed that against Vanderbilt. They didn't take Vanderbilt seriously. What happened? Diego Pavia and the Commodores black your eye. You didn't take Tennessee seriously. What happens? Tennessee blacks your eye. You don't take Oklahoma seriously that has a big-time defensive-minded guy's a head coach in Brent Venables. And what happens? They black your eye by running the football down your throat with not just the quarterback, Jackson Arnold, who's now at Auburn via the transfer portal, but with their running back, Xavier Robinson, who rushed for 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards. So you got to have your A game every week. Kalen DeBoer he understands now the SEC is grown man football. It starts up front in the trenches. And you got to have that intensity and that mentality every time you step out there on that field. That's the big thing right there. Neil writes there, it was a transition for sure, but losing to Vandy, then a sorry Oklahoma, not acceptable. It goes back to Neil, that expectation. You as Bama fans want to win every time you step out there on that field. And I understand Kalen DeBoer has that mentality as well, but you got to bring that every week. And I think that was the struggle for DeBoer. We saw so many different mental pictures with this team, y'all. We saw against Georgia. You beat Georgia, oh my gosh, kumbaya, we on top of the world, baby. Cream, everything runs around Bama, dogga B, and let's get it. Like we saw that, everybody jumping up and down for the win over Georgia. But you didn't refocus. And because Bama didn't refocus, that's when you had the loss to Vanderbilt. Because Bama didn't refocus, that's when you have the loss to Tennessee. Then you get back somewhat focused. You escape South Carolina with a win. You beat Missouri. You handle LSU. But then you go on the road to Oklahoma thinking this 5-5 team going to lay down. They not. And you lose focus again. And you lose to Oklahoma. A game in which you win that game, you're in the college football playoff. You win that game, you're competing for a Southeastern Conference championship. So DeBoer is now has the understanding of, hey, I got to be on ready each and every week. I got to be on go each and every week. I got to be on preparation each and every week. And not just him, his coaching staff gets it also. BT Trust, I totally agree with you, Stephen, 100. Yeah. Gotta have your A game each and every week when it comes down to this conference. But I'm looking forward, y'all, to this ReliaQuest Bowl against Michigan. Comes down to which offense for Alabama makes itself known. And hopefully, we see the Bama offense that played against Georgia. We see the Bama offense that played against LSU. We see the Bama offense that played against Wisconsin. That's my hope right there. Period. That is my hope right there. DG German, I felt like we were playing around with Oklahoma. Yeah, Bama played around. Bama did not come out serious. Bama did not come out focused, and that was the reason why you saw the result that you saw. You only mustered up 3 points. That's why you saw the embarrassment that you saw. But to end the season the right way, you got a chance to rectify this by handling Michigan, by taking care of your business against the Wolverines in Tampa, Florida, by laying this hammer down to Michigan and ending this season here with 10 wins. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's matchup in Tampa. Check it out, the Crimson Tide here. Well, folks, you got to follow me here on YouTube at Bama Football SEC. As we're going to be rolling out podcasts, we're going to be rolling out shows right here on this channel at Bama Football SEC. In the new year, we'll be doing live phone calls. That's going to be awesome. Live phone calls starting in the new year once I get some things in place here. But I'm definitely excited to bring this thing live here to you. Let's see here. Cat Pool writes in, do you expect to see Bach get playing time on offense tomorrow? I do. How many reps will he get? Or how many targets will he get, Cat? Remains to be seen, right? Because Ryan Williams is going to want his. Jeremy Bernard's going to want his. Other receivers are going to want theirs. But Bach has looked smooth in practice down there in Tampa. Kalen DeBoer talked about it. He's going to offense permanently. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how many targets he gets against Michigan. Brandon Davis, Steven, what's up, bro? Love your show. Showing love from Destin, Florida. Brandon, happy to have you here, man. I'm doing good. Excited for the ReliaQuest Bowl and tomorrow. Neil, good luck with the coaching gig. Hey, I appreciate it, Neil. Looking forward to hearing back from some interviews, some feelings I've put out there. But even with that, I'm still going to be bringing you guys Alabama and SEC content right here on this channel at Bama Football SEC on YouTube. So if you haven't done so, go ahead, hit that subscribe button to my channel at Bama Football SEC on YouTube to stay locked on here with me. BT Trust, congratulations, Steven, on your next journey. Hey, I appreciate it. Absolutely appreciate it. But lock in with me right there on the YouTube channel at Bama Football SEC, as we'll be doing more of these lives, and I'm giving more of my perspective here, not just on Alabama football, but on the Southeastern Conference as a whole. But just wanted to come on here and just to give my thoughts here on this game, how I feel about this game, just the excitement of it, and which Alabama offense needs to hit the field here, and the Crimson Tide having to finish out this season the right way by getting this win here over Michigan. But you guys, hey, take it easy. It's been rolling through the SEC.